All right, everybody, welcome. Happy Thursday. I have my book up here in case somebody forgot what book we're reading and reviewing. That one is for decoration, and I have my own, and mine is looking pretty beat up. I don't know about you guys. I'm finding so much good stuff in here. I have to put my little post-its in there. I have to put notes in there. And I absolutely love this book. I'm just learning so much about myself, and I'm learning a lot about my habits and how to break them. So last week we reviewed chapter 1 and it was amazing. And Priscilla asked for us to kind of go back to chapter 1 and revisit because there was something very important there. And I want to invite you guys to go back with me to the very first page of chapter 1. Let me tell you, that is page, well, there's no page number there, but it's like 13, page 13. So if you look at the bottom says, the last paragraph, the aggregation of marginal gains, which was the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. And I want to take this a little further, you guys, because I think we have gold right here. And everything that we do, we're trying to build little steps on top of each other, right? So this is right up our alley. This is amazing. So I put together a document for myself, but I want to share with you guys. And I have that document also plain so you guys can fill in whatever it is that you want to work with, okay? So let me share my screen and then I'm going to make you host, Kim. Share screen. Can you guys see all this? Okay, perfect. So make host. There you go, Kim. All right, so I put this together and I put the definition there for us not to forget. And what I did is I took this and I dissected my coaching business. And I have all these subcategories and I left some bullet points empty because if you guys have suggestions, throw them at me. I will add them in there while I'm there, or you guys can add it later on. So I left room for you guys to add more stuff to this, but let's look at it a little more into detail. So coaching consists of social media, personal health, conversations, health assessments, which is also client retention, client support, coaches and sponsoring, and coach support, right? So now let's look into social media. It has different sections, and I'm gonna, each and every single one, I'm gonna try to improve just by a little bit. So posts. Are my posts informative? Are they spreading a happy feeling? Are they inspiring? You know, all those things you got to ask yourself. Try to stay away from religion and politics as much as you can because you never know who you're rubbing the wrong way. So make sure that your posts are consistently being there. You have informative posts and catchy before afters, which is also right here. Before afters, are you using good before afters? Do your before afters look like you actually know those people, or is it very like salesy, boom 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 boom, make connections, share their stories, don't just share pictures? Hashtags, are you using hashtags in your stories? Are you using stories? Even a lot of us are not, and stories are so effective now. For example, if you're doing this and you're not doing stories, so your goal should be to improve doing stories every day by like 1%. So every day do one story, for a week do one story, then build on that. The second week add a second story. And next thing you know, you're building 10 to 20 stories a day. And it's become a habit because you continuously do it. Polls and questions, you guys, those are so important. Are you doing them? Can we do a better job with them? So I recently realized, you know, whatever polls you do from Instagram, it transfers to Facebook, but they can't vote on Facebook. So I'm going the extra mile. I'm creating a separate one on Facebook so they can vote on Instagram and Facebook. That is me bettering myself, finding improvement in the little things, and always consistency. If you see throughout the entire document, the last item is consistency, because consistency is key. Personal health. Are we eating 6 meals a day? Whatever program you're on, 6 meals a day is key, right? Are you drinking your water? Is there healthy motion, guys? Are we moving around? Are we sleeping enough? Are we developing? This book is a great start, but what else are we doing? Are we reading our health book? Are we living by our health book? Those things are so important. And look, for me, it's like, am I living by my life book? No, but I can try every day to do a little bit more, a little bit more. And then if I look at it in the long run, I'm going to have such a big improvement. And again, consistency, right? The third step is conversations, you guys. Are you making conversations daily? If you're not making conversations, nothing is going to move in your business. So let's see, if you're doing 3 conversations daily, here is what we can improve. We can take that up to 5. And then once you're comfortable with 5, we can take that up to 8. Once you're comfortable with 8, we go up to 50, okay? We don't stop at 10, but start at 10. 10 is a great start. Are you doing your power hour? That is a huge part of getting work done, you guys, and uninterrupted time. When it's power hour, are you doing other things, or are you turning all of your notifications off? Are you closing the door? Make sure that I still have interruptions in my power hour. And this is something I'm struggling with. Okay. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to improve a little bit, just a little bit every day. Are you having authentic conversations? Real stuff, you guys, real heartache. The world is an ugly place right now. There's a lot of people out there who just need somebody to listen, somebody to pour their heart out to, or somebody to say, hey, are you okay? Are you having real authentic conversations? And are you taking the conversations to health? Super easy, you guys. Practice it. The more you practice, the easier it is to take the conversations to health, right? I hope this helps, this breakdown. I hope this is something that's going to help you guys in your business later on. Now, health assessment. Are you following the health assessment guidelines? A lot of us tend to make changes and take shortcuts at some point, but it's good to go back and say, hey, there's a reason there's this health assessment, and there's a reason there's 4 components, and each component works equally as much. So am I really sharing all 4 components the way I'm supposed to? No. So maybe I can improve by a little bit every day, or I can improve a little bit with every health assessment. So if I get better at sharing the 4 components, therefore my health assessment will be better, right? So imagine if you do all of these, and if you watch videos on how to do health assessments, do it, you guys. This is part of it. We practice health assessments. If you think you're not good at them, call your mentor coach. Say, hey, can we do a few practice calls? I want to see if your style has changed, or maybe I need a reminder. This is all part of it. Now, client support. Are you doing your daily messages? You know, for me, I've been a person who struggled with consistency all my life. So sometimes I forget the daily messages, and then I feel so badly about it. Now I don't. In the beginning of my business, I used to forget. And then sometimes my client would wait for them, and they would feel like, you know, I didn't care for them. So now I'm learning. I gotta be on top of those daily messages, and as much as checking in with your clients, especially the first week, making sure they're in the right way. Make sure those check-ins are good. Make sure you're doing them consistently. And then celebration calls. We had our group huddle last week was a mock celebration call. You guys know how important these are. I'm continuously finding areas in the celebration call to get better. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go even further. I'm going to take this celebration call portion, and I'm going to give it more bullet points and break it down into more sections, and then go in and try to improve those sections, because I believe that this is where the magic is. Are you doing your map? You guys, we can always get better at doing our map. We can always do a better map. We can practice using our back office. So this is super important that we have improvement in all of these areas. Now, coaches and sponsoring. Do you share coaching? Do you make sure every person that comes across your way knows how amazing coaching is and how it has changed your life? If not, work on it. I know it's hard. In the beginning, I was like, I don't want to sound too salesy. Like, I don't want to be like pushing this thing. Now I'm like, I don't care. It has saved my life. I'll share about it, but it has taken practice every day. Okay. So live out loud. Make sure you live your journey out loud. Post the food you're eating, show the exercise you're doing, show how you're maintaining your weight, lots of selfies, lots of pictures. You guys, people love that. Then coach support. Coach celebrations are so important. You know, we got to get better at these. I myself had amazing coach celebrations, and those kept me going, you know, those kept me encouraged to coach more and do better. So every time there is a rank or a rank up celebration, it's important that we get better at it, how to support our coaches and how to celebrate them. And then as far as coach split income, you know, you got to look at what your coaches want. I have to sometimes stop myself and listen to my coaches because not everybody wants the same thing. Some need income, others don't. So I got to find what it is that fuels my coaches and dig deeper into that. And that is a skill I need to get better at. So I broke it down here. Healthy happy hours, you guys, outings, you know, our community is amazing and we're even more amazing when we're together, right? So the more we have these, the better. I know the world is a really scary place right now and a lot of people are quarantining, but once things are back to normal, we got to blow this out of the house. And as you can see, I have consistency after everything. I might be missing some stuff, you guys, but you kind of get the gist of it. What I'm trying to say is pretty much we got to find the areas that we're not good at, break them down further, go into those little details and improve each detail by a little bit to see bigger growth in the bigger picture overall. I hope that makes sense. You guys have anything to share about what I just showed you? Anything that you want to add? Not all at the same time, please. Wait, your turn.
I really liked that graphic, and I'm hoping that you're going to post it in Leaders in Progress.
For sure, I will. And I made a blank one. So you can not only do coaching, you can do, for example, whatever, like parenting, wife. Oh my gosh, I got to break down all the things that a wife needs to do and go improve in all of them. I'll post it, Lisa, for sure. Anybody else?
I'll go. Linda, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to put up this breakdown into the small working steps and in categories, because I'm such a visual person and the overlap of the information, it helps streamline it. And I'm sure other people feel the same in regards to that. And just that asking yourself, you know, where do I have the biggest opportunity for growth? And because there's so many different categories, pick one to start, right? Like, and if you're in the beginning and early in your journey, then it's going to be in those first few columns, right? Like leading with your own health and making story posts and those kinds of things. And if that's flowing, then move to the next 3 columns so that it's incremental growth. Because even just recognizing the columns, like we might go, oh my gosh, I have like opportunities to grow in all of these, which can sometimes feel overwhelming. So just focus on the one area in the beginning that you feel like you have the biggest opportunity for growth in, and then move forward. So that way it's incremental. But
yeah, and Jamie, I think in our business we always say like build on small victories, right? And this is what it is, right? You say like pick one thing and just make that better and then feel good about that and pick another thing.
Yeah,
better at that versus when you say, oh, I can't do this coaching thing. Well, this coaching thing is so broad, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
and I love that. What's next, right? Like once you have the mastery and you're feeling really confident, okay, so now like what's next, right? So
absolutely.
Thank you again so much for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Anybody else?
Well, I found it interesting. We were reviewing chapter 1. It's called the Plateau of Latent Potentiality or Potential. And it's interesting that the expectancy is linear, yet our what actually happens is nonlinear. So that you know, that gives us a bit of hope because you know we are struggling. You know, trying to, you know, I mean, as you say, we're doing one thing one set at a time and then moving on to the other. But eventually, you get to all. You're going to be.
I think he froze. Okay, hopefully he'll be back on. But yeah, I mean, Dennis is absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is you know, I think he's talking about the curve on page 16. And this is also the example of the ice cube. If you guys remember, it says, you know, when you have the ice cube in a room and you turn up the temperature and the first 30 minutes, nothing happens. And you're just looking at the ice cube like, why are you not melting? But we need to understand it's building on top of each other that eventually brings that ice cube to a melt. It doesn't just happen gradually, but until we build on top of each other, we have to be patient. And that's why the plateau. So the scale that Dennis was talking about is, this is what we expect to happen. And this is kind of what happens. So we know that, but we need to always remind ourselves, right? Anybody else?
Great presentation, Linda. That was amazing. The breakdown really, really helps. And you know why? Because sometimes we say, I'm not good at a health assessment, and we stop there. The first step in making even progress and getting 1% better is saying, yes, I can, and doing it, even if you suck at it. I've been there, I've had a health assessment practice that my first one took an hour, and Priscilla was super patient with me, and we all mess up. And the more you mess up, that means that's good, because you learn from it. And then that's 1% improvement, right? Because we do experience sometimes the flight or fight response, where we just shut that action down because we think we're not good at it, and so with consistency comes practice. And then even the chapter summary, if we want better results, then focus on the system itself, which is everything that Linda, showcased what coaching consists of, if you want a successful and big business. But breaking it down is really good. And that also opens up doors for improvement in any area that you're good at. But what can I really do to stand out and to improve my numbers, right? Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice checklist for ourselves, right? To kind of check our systems and to make sure like we're good in all areas. And you're absolutely right, Cynthia. It's just a little bit better at a time. That's it. You're already moving in the right direction, right? If we're just a tiny bit better. I love it. This book is teaching me so much, guys. It's absolutely amazing. And a lot of stuff is so easy to understand. I expected it to be really hard, but it's so easy, and it's written so simply, and it just breaks it down so nicely. Does anybody else like to share about chapter 1? If we don't have anything to share, if you guys don't want to add anything, I'm going to break it to chapter 2. A lot of us have already read into chapter 2, but if you haven't, don't worry about it. This is all stuff that, we can discuss and always read on later. Anybody who likes to add anything to chapter 1? Melinda.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because my internet is spotty always. My internet issue should be solved tomorrow. But I felt that chapter 1, and when we go into chapter 2, that it's really speaking to me, because it's been a struggle, trying to get better at things when I feel like I keep getting rejections. But reading this chapter, it's just letting me know that it's gonna get better. I just gotta stick with it and keep going, and it's gonna get better. So I'm really, really enjoying reading this, and I'm really glad that we're doing this together, because it's going to be helpful for all of us. And I really appreciate the breakdown that you did, Linda. That's awesome, because I think it's really going to help me, like Jamie said, visual person, to have it laid out. So thank you.
Definitely. You're very welcome. Yeah, me too. I got to see it sometimes to be able to kick my own butt, So when I laid it out, I was like, ooh, Linda, you need improvements in all of these areas. You get to work. So we all do, right? We all do. But the whole idea is it's so broad. Like, okay, so where do I start? But this is a nice little breakdown, and you can go into the little pieces and work your way up, and then huge change overall. Anybody else about chapter 1? It's such a good chapter. I'm not ready to go yet. No?
I frankly liked the focus on the system rather the focus on your habits. And so you get your systems fixed and then the rest of it goes. So I really like the last sentence in the summary, which says you do not rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. So, I think a lot of times we set goals for ourselves and then we don't meet them or fix our systems to get to them. And then we wonder why we fail. So, setting the systems, I think putting that in place, once you get the train out of the station, you can't really stop it. So, you have to make sure
Absolutely.
your systems are correct.
You're so right, Lisa. And I didn't even know that. This is the first time I heard of it. And I was like, systems. I wish I knew that a few years ago. I could have worked on it differently. But, we're learning together and it's exciting. And we can apply these changes to our business, to our lives, to everything that we come across. You
Can
guys
I
ready
say
to?
something real quick, Linda?
Yes.
So I took really long because I was on a phone call with a client who tomorrow's like 1 year anniversary of her sister dying of COVID.
Oh.
And she's really trying to like stick to the program and just stay on, And one of the things, what I love about this book is that so much of it applies to it as coaches too, with our clients. Because I told her, you know what? I said, it's not just about the goal. And typically we focus so much on the goal and that's all we focus about. I'm like, it's about who you're becoming every single day by making the choices that you make every single day. That's going to help you become the person you need to be to stay in that goal, And I told her, yes, Jamie, the journey matters. It's not just the goal. And sometimes I feel like we forget that, we talk about these boss babes and these mom bosses and I have goals and all these things. I'm a goal getter. Who used to use that hashtag? My husband laughs at me all the time because he's like, I don't see you write boss babe and goal getter anymore. I'm like, oh, I cringe when he says that to me. But I'm like, I don't use that anymore because I don't want to be a goal getter. I want to be someone that changes like in the process to achieve those goals so that I can earn and deserve those goals. And so that's what I told her. I told her, like, you got to focus on the journey because the journey is more important than just the outcome that you want to create. And all of that, you guys, is in this book. Like, so even as health coaches, we can use so much from this book to teach our clients things as well. So I'm just really excited because that was something I pulled out of chapter 1, so that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. And Priscilla, as a coach, I feel like I have a little bit more to offer now, to my clients, because I feel like, okay, it all makes sense. Like it all makes sense. So now I'm forwarding the knowledge I'm learning from this book to my clients. And it's amazing. It's a whole different level. It's just, wow, this book is amazing. Thank you for making us do this, by the way. Really cool. Are we ready to dive into chapter 2? Okay, all right. So maybe we'll get out of here in 30 minutes. We'll see. So chapter 2, I highlighted a couple of things, but one thing that really resonated with me is on page 1. It says, changing our habits is challenging for 2 reasons. 1, we try to change the wrong thing. And 2, we try to change our habits in the wrong way. Wow. I was like, okay, this really resonated with me because all my life I've spent trying to change my habits, not knowing how to do that. And now understanding that you got to focus on the right habits and you got to make sure your systems is there, in order for these habits to become habits. So this was absolutely amazing for me. And then to go even further, the next page over, you guys, this diagram, I don't know if you guys can see it. The part where it said that if you're outcome based or you're identity based, outcome based is like kind of like I this is what I understood. Like, I want to be a healthy person, so I'm gonna diet and I'm gonna hope that when I get to my goal, I'm a healthy person. And this is where the disconnect happens, right? Because once you get to your goal, and what happens to most of our clients, right? They get to their goal, they get really cocky, they start adding things, and then it just goes back up. So, but if I'm identity based, and if I wake up every morning and I tell myself, I'm a healthy person. I'm a healthy person. So what does a healthy person do to stay healthy? And then I do the daily actions that will bring me closer to the identity. I have a better chance. That was really amazing for me. That was wow. Do you guys have anything to share about chapter 2, or do you want to get in on any of the stuff that I just mentioned?
I would like to share. I loved how this diagram showed that you changed and on page 31, those two, the outcome based and the income based, the identity based. On the outcome one, I said it's like the outside in. You're trying to change from the outside in. And then the identity base is like from the inside out. So you change from the inside and then it changes yourself on the outside. And I love that because I actually was on my old photography page today. I was like going through some old stuff. And I was a photographer for a long time before I started this, right before I started this. And in 2018, I had just put up a new photo of myself and an about me. And it was like a big picture of my face. And it makes me want to cry when I think about it, because I looked at her, like I saw that picture and I looked at her and I couldn't recognize her because I'm no longer her. Like I'm not her anymore. I changed from the inside out. And so I can't even recognize that person. That person would not be the person I am right now. But what I did was I looked to see what I wanted to be. And that's who I became. I wanted to be a healthy person. I wanted to be a leader. I looked to these people like Tiffany Howard and Priscilla and you, Linda, like looking to these people, like, what are they doing? How are they living their lives? And I changed on the inside. And on page 33, he says, the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation, we always talk about intrinsic motivation with our clients, is when a habit becomes part of your identity. It's one thing to say I'm the type of person who wants this. It's something very different to say I'm the type of person who is this. And I can say that when I started this program in 2018, I was the kind of person that wanted this, but now I'm the kind of person who is this. I'm the kind of person that always chooses the healthy thing at a restaurant. And people who want to be healthy choose what I choose because they know that that's who I am. So I loved that. I love that, changing from the inside out.
I love the new you, Kim. You are amazing. And I love that. And there was an example about two people, right? And then they asked the first one, they said, are you a non-smoker? And the first one said, well, I'm trying to quit. And then they asked the second one, they said, are you non-smoker? And he said, I'm a non-smoker. And they're both on day one of trying to quit. But the second one, because he said, I'm a non-smoker, he's becoming a different person. The first one is trying. So we know how that might go, right? So that's super important that you say, I am that person. And now I'm going to perform all the actions that are going to validate that I am that person, or that are going to bring me closer to that person. Anybody else?
It goes, well, this chapter basically is heavily on those concepts, and I feel it's just mind-blowing. It's a shift in perspective, you know, and this really helps us coach our clients too, by the way, right? You're underlining, and I've had, like Priscilla mentioned a few times, where especially when they ask you, how am I going to, you know, they're starting their journeys and they're worried about how they're going to maintain their weight. You get this asked a lot, although you go over the transition and the health assessment, you know. And I said, don't worry about that. That's why we need to change. You know, we're not just too concerned about you reaching, you know, the 80-pound mark, 30-pound mark. It's just who you're going to become. It's a different person at your choices, who you are, how a healthy person lives is just going to be completely different when you're there, you know. Or just like applying to our businesses, you know, how would an IPD think? How would the, right? And your actions, your daily actions will dictate that, or who you believe you are right now. You can't chill on days that you don't feel like working. Or if you want a $10,000 business, $30,000 business, you're not gonna, you know, come up with all the excuses in the world. Or even if you have COVID, you have 4 kids, you have whatever, you still show up, you know, just like our fearless leader here, Priscilla Allen, you know. And so that's what it requires to handle a business like that, right? Not just achieving the goal of, oh, let me have 5 EDs, 6 EDs. It's not that. It's who are you going to become to show up, regardless, no matter what, to be able to be that person. I am your title, which means that you have worked towards that, and you can handle such a business, right? Outcome versus identity, what you want to achieve versus who you want to become, is very powerful. I think I underline all of that. Who versus what you want, wish, or, you know, Same thing with your health goals. Oh, I want those muscles. What did you do? What would a person that looks like that does on a regular basis? Chooses healthy choices versus alcohol, or the alcohol is not gonna make you gain weight, but it affects performance. It does all of those things. And I think for my physical, I think of goals. I think of who do I need to become to push myself, even if I don't feel like it, doing those extra push-ups. And a lot of those concepts also, if you haven't read the 12 shifts, Jamil talks about it when I read it a while back, but who does he need to become to be that person when he was in trying to compete in high school for football, I believe. Yeah. So pretty impressive. And he would think of leaders in that position. How did they train? How did they do things? So, well, yeah.
I love that, Cynthia. And I also, I bubbled. This one I didn't highlight. I bubbled because it's extra special. Over here, it's on page 39. It says, decide the type of person you want to be. Prove it to yourself with small wins. That's it. If I want to be IPD, I'm going to make sure that every day I have a tiny, teeny win so I can stay encouraged and I can stay focused towards my goal. That's it. You guys, just tiny wins. That's it. Don't look for the big things, just small ones. And you'll see in no time, magic can happen. Love this book.
I bubbled the same thing you did as well.
Right.
And one of the things that it does, he says is like behind every system is also beliefs, right? The beliefs of yourself behind every system. And what he says is like when every day you're doing something consistently, your belief starts to change in yourself too. Like who you think you are just starts changing. Kind of like, Christians who go to church every single Sunday. They don't even think about it twice. They're like, yeah, we're Christians. We go every Sunday to church. Like we participate in the ministry. We do all of these things. And so your belief changes because you're doing something every single day to identify with that person that you want to be. So if you are a health coach, if this is what your identity is, it's who you are. For me personally, when people ask me what I am, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a health coach, and I'm a business coach. That's who I am. But I don't even think about it twice because I connect with my clients every day. I help people every day. I help my coaching partners build their businesses. And it's because every day I touch it. And so that's one of the biggest things. Like the belief system is super duper important, but the belief will only come to yourself when you're actually doing the work every single day. If you're chilling and relaxing and cooling, like nothing, then yeah, you say it's because I'm a health coach, but you're not doing anything about it. Yeah, you're not going to believe it. So you want to be a Christian, you want to believe you're a Christian, go to church every day. Like I see Cynthia and I'm like, dude, she's like crazy gym goer. She's like a gym rat, and she deserves that. Like when she sees that in herself, that's her identity. It's because she's going to the gym every single day. That's who she is. That's who she's become. That's a part of her identity. And so I don't know. I think that was very powerful for me because sometimes we think that we need to think these crazy things about ourselves. Like, oh, first I need to think I can. No, it starts with the first step of you doing the first action of being that health coach, of reaching out to people, of adding friends, of starting conversations, of sharing your journey out loud, of living out loud, all of those things. And then you just start believing in yourself without even noticing it. You start believing in yourself because there's action behind that belief. So that was powerful for me too.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody else likes to share about chapter 2? Jamie?
I wanted to piggyback. Oh, sorry. Is somebody else going?
I don't see anybody else that's unmuted. Go ahead, Jamie.
I thought I heard somebody else talking at the same time, but I just wanted to piggyback off of what Priscilla was saying in that commitments aren't what you're gonna do, it's what you're doing. And there's that 1% focus again, right? Like it's what you're already in action on. And then in extension to what this book is saying and Priscilla was saying, an overlap that pertains to so many different things in emotion and thoughts and feelings in the system that I coach, and it overlaps with the very huge point. The reason habits, the real reason habits matter is not because that they can get you better results, but because they can change your beliefs in yourself. The confidence in that 1% and the practicing that one thing raises vibration in like a quantum physics way, just like when you go to church on Sunday, if you're faith-based, or you walk the mile if you're a gym rat, or you run the lap, right? Like, and then it builds on that one action that you are doing. You're like, hey, I'm here. I did it. And like you're in your head about this next step, right? But at the same time, you're doing it. You're not trying to do it, you're doing it. I am, right? Like I am taking the steps. I am posting. I am sharing on stories. I am touching my business every day. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Okay, cool. Now, where do I have an opportunity to take the next step, right? And in my line of work, the belief is the very beginning. And for some people, we're extending, like Kim speaks so beautifully on this, like we're extending the hope and the belief in the beginning because people have been operating from a space of lack and just their confidence and their value within themselves, their identity is so far from the truth because they've been reacting forever, because that's what that mind does, right? Like we react, we stay in that pit of despair of chapter 1. And then all of a sudden, I took a baby step. I can. Oh my gosh, that little bit of hope, that peace, right? And then the belief is present. It was no longer present when we first made contact, right? Now we've contacted that subconscious part and we've given it a little bit of hope. And we're like, come with me, as Linda would say, just trust me, I got you, right? And then in my line of work, the next question is so important. Do you want to believe that you're healthy and confident and living your greatest life, or do you want to know it? I don't know about you guys, but I want to know it. You know why? Because knowing is kinesthetic. Knowing is confidently speaking, like it's happening. Like I don't have to listen to somebody else to know that it's happening. It's not an extension of who I am in that belief. It's now present, and I can see that it's present. And this is such a huge step in our job as coaches, because that is the connection to the questions that you're asking, right? Like, so when you're hearing, I'm not, I'm this, all that means, you guys, is they need more love, and they need more like, hey, I've read this in the life book here. You might want to check that out. Like I've had a lot of success. It helped me so much. And then you highlight, right? Not like, hey, I think you should, right? Because we have to tell our stories in our own growth, and then we walk with them. And that's why the speaking those pieces at each of the steps integrally matters, because there's a section in this, and I'm like way type A achiever. I told you guys that I'm like on chapter 13, devouring this book because I love it so much. But and each time you read it, you get something different. It just opens up to you. But when you are listening for those questions and you're listening to the words that they're using and you're loving on them, you're just planting these little seeds of hope in modeling, right? So that what I recognized recently in my celebration calls with Kim is that, like, because I was so worried about like, oh, you know, I'm like sending text messages and checking on people like every day in the first week, and my own insecurity about like, oh man, I'm totally bugging these people, right? Like, how are you feeling? What are you doing? You ask the same 4 questions. How are you feeling? What are you learning? Walk me through your lean and green. Walk me through your fuelings, right? You know why you ask them all the same questions? Because then they're speaking what they're doing. That's a whole nother layer in those neural networks of creating a habit and a belief and a practice in what they are becoming. Oh my gosh, you guys, that just gave me chills, because like we are becoming continually. And that's the coolest thing. Like there's never a stop. And I've always lived my life in that way. And it triggers the bejesus out of people, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do, is help each other grow. So
It's totally okay. And I love doing this with you guys. Jamie, thank you for that so much. It's absolutely true. And if anybody else likes to share, go ahead. But I want to read this section that really, really resonated with me. Page 41, you guys. It says, your habits matter. because they help you become a type of person you wish to be. They are the channel through which you develop your deepest beliefs about yourself. Quite literally, you become your habits. So if we are becoming our habits, we want to make sure that we damn have good habits, right? And then we become them one by one. But this is an amazing way to look at it, that it's not just the habits, it's the systems. And now look beyond that and understand why we're failing at some points, because we need to look further. Did anybody else like to share anything? It's so much stuff. I feel like we need like 2 hours for this book, just one chapter. Anybody else?
I'd like to share really quick. Sorry, baby.
Yes.
Just really quick because I know we only have a few
Of
minutes.
course,
But
Anissa, go ahead.
so on page 32, it says most people don't even consider identity change when they set out to improve. They just think I want to be skinny, outcome, and if I stick to this diet, I'll be skinny, process. But it says the reason people don't achieve the goals that they are wanting to achieve is because they never shift the way they look at themselves. They only realize that they're old. They don't realize that their old identity can sabotage their new plans for change. And I thought that was very powerful because, like, when we think about like our jobs as health coaches, like you said, if we're not doing the systems, like you're not sharing posts, or you're not doing the, having conversations and stuff, is because you don't see yourself as that. And because you don't see yourself as that, you're not doing it. And then there was one more. Sorry. It says on page 34, once your pride gets involved, you'll fight tooth and nail to maintain your habit. So I wrote down, so like once you're proud of your accomplishment, like you've done something, you're going to continue to strive to do it because you're proud of what you've done. You want to be better, and you'll continue doing that because you have that pride associated with it. So I just want to share that.
I love that, Anisha, and especially in our business, because we know how important small wins are, right? We need those too. We need those small wins. So I absolutely agree with you. If we have something to be proud of, even if it's something little, it's still pride and it's going to keep us going. Anybody else like to share? Okay, so we want to be respectful of everybody's time. It's 7:44. If nobody likes to share, I'll let you guys go. Next week, we're going to dive into chapter 3. I'm excited for this. You guys read ahead if you can. Read ahead, and then we'll read it all over again. And if anybody likes to share anything, please let me know. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom. No more? Okay, guys, have a lovely rest of the evening, okay? Have a good weekend. Bye.